tragic situation.
12 people were killed Wednesday night in Southern California in what police are describing as a horrific shooting. The suspect identified as 28-year-old Ian Long, a veteran who had served in the U.S. Marine Corps. The gunman opened fire at a country music event at a bar and grill called Borderline in Thousand Oaks, California. Police say he appeared to have shot at random using only a handgun.
We believe he shot himself. When the officers went in and made re-entry, they found him already deceased.
Included in the dead, a sheriff's deputy. Many others were wounded in the attack. Witnesses describe a chaotic scene.
All of a sudden you hear like the bang bang of the gunshots, and it just started going crazy.
I watched an officer get shot in front of me, and I had to help drag him and throw him into the back of the cop car.
It took a couple seconds for people to realize what was going on, and once that happened, it was just utter chaos.
It's the fourth mass shooting in the United States in under 2 weeks, including a shooting in Tallahassee, Florida, where 2 women were fatally shot at a yoga class, and in Pittsburgh, where 11 worshipers were killed at a synagogue. As for the Borderline massacre, police say so far there's no known motive in the attack.
Trump has already seen his Republicans lose control of the House of Representatives this week, and now another setback. A U.S. appeals court in California on Thursday lose control of the House of Representatives this week, and now another setback. A U.S. appeals court in California on Thursday upheld a ruling that the Trump administration must continue the controversial DACA program introduced under former President Barack Obama in 2012. The Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program protects from deportation hundreds of thousands of immigrants known as Dreamers who were brought to the country illegally as children. We are the Dreamers! It also gives those immigrants work permits, though not a path to citizenship. More than a year ago, the Trump administration announced plans to phase out DACA, arguing that Obama exceeded his constitutional powers when he bypassed Congress to create the program. But the appeals court rejected that argument, saying that the administration's opponents in the case would likely succeed in their argument that the rescission of DACA would be arbitrary, capricious, and not in accordance with the law. It's a blow to President Trump, although the administration has already lodged a request to the Supreme Court for its review.
After Congress, it takes...
Well-wishers sending Ruth Bader Ginsburg hopes for a speedy recovery Thursday after the Supreme Court's liberal icon fractured 3 ribs in a fall on Wednesday. The injury reviving worries among Ginsburg's admirers over how long the 85-year-old justice is likely to remain on the bench, with President Trump eager to appoint more conservatives to the nation's highest court. Reporter Andrew Chung covers the Supreme Court.
He has already named 2 conservative justices, and if Ruth Bader Ginsburg leaves, that means the court would have a 6-3 conservative majority.
After falling at her office, Ginsburg initially went home, but was admitted to the hospital for observation Thursday morning.
I, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Ginsburg, known to fans as the notorious RBG, made her name as an advocate for women's rights and has served on the high court since 1993, repeatedly saying she has no plans to step down.
I will do this job as long as I can do it, full steam.
She's the oldest of 9 justices and one of the court's 4 liberals. The court's 5-4 conservative majority was solidified last month after the Senate confirmed Brett Kavanaugh, following a contentious nomination process. On Thursday, Trump attended a ceremony formally welcoming Kavanaugh on the court. If Ginsburg were unable to continue serving on the court, President Trump would likely move swiftly to replace her, most likely with another conservative. Doctors on Thursday said they expect Ginsburg to be well enough to leave the hospital within days.
As US sanctions bite in Iran, pushing up prices and sending the country's currency tumbling, many Iranians are logging on to social media to vent their anger. Economic demonstrations like this one in the capital Tehran have been building since late last year, spreading to more than 80 cities. People are increasingly pointing the finger, though, at Iran's rich and powerful. Officials, clerics, diplomats and their families are all fair game. This tweet here shows the son of a well-known politician beside Joffrey from the TV show Game of Thrones. This photo forced the high-profile cleric to resign in October. He was criticised on social media for stepping out of a luxury SUV, and he's not the first to go this year. Iran correspondent Babak Dagampashe has been scrolling through from Geneva.
They are not experiencing the same kind of hardships that ordinary Iranians are facing in this economic crisis. And that's come about because there have been pictures that have been put online where the officials themselves have been shown living kind of luxury lifestyles, and that's done done a great deal toward fueling this anger that ordinary Iranians have felt.
One person channeling that resentment is Sayed Mahdi Sadri-Sadati. For a relatively obscure cleric, he's amassed over 250,000 followers on Instagram, uploading a series of scathing posts aimed at children of the elite. In one recent post, he blasted the luxury life of a Revolutionary Guards commander and his son. Why? Check out the selfie he posted in front of a tiger lying on the balcony of a mansion. The cleric muses how a 25-year-old could amass such wealth. Openly criticising a well-known member of the powerful military unit is in itself an unusual act of defiance, but one that may become more common as Iranians increasingly feel the pinch of sanctions.
A German court has ruled that the cities of Cologne and Bonn must enact a ban on diesel engines in older cars on environmental grounds, or they'll be seen as flaunting federal rules on pollution limits. The cars will be banned from certain areas of the cities starting in April, and comes as another blow to Germany's auto industry. Volkswagen in particular is still dealing with the fallout of its emissions scandal, where it was revealed that the company had installed software in its diesel cars designed to hide their environmental impact. Courts have also told other German cities, including Berlin and Frankfurt, to introduce bans on older diesel cars that bring more pollution than newer models. Other global cities have their own restrictions on diesel vehicles, but the Germans may be the first to enforce outright bans. Local authorities are appealing the ban.
Volkswagen stepping on the accelerator in a plan to get in on the electric car market and slow down some of Tesla's early momentum. Reuters has learned the German automaker is working on an all-electric model that will sell for less than $23,000. At that price, the car would be $12,000 less than Tesla CEO Elon Musk promised.
The standard, is going to be $35,000 for a 220-mile range.
And has yet to deliver for his mass-market Model 3. Sources telling Reuters that a November 16th strategy meeting will discuss Volkswagen's transformation plan to shift from being Europe's largest maker of combustion engine vehicles into a mass producer of electric cars. The automaker declined a request for comment, but VW, like all German automakers, is feeling the heat as cities start to ban diesel engine vehicles.
Nearly a week after thousands of Google workers around the world walked off their jobs to protest the tech giant's response to sexual harassment, CEO Sundar Pichai Thursday announced changes to the company's sexual harassment policies. In a statement published online to employees, Pichai said the company would be more transparent about how it handles such cases, provide better support, and allow arbitration for sexual harassment claims, bowing to at least some of the demands listed by the walk-off organizers. Reuters Google correspondent Paresh Dave.
Google employees who organized the protest last week said that they are pleased that Google has changed these policies around sexual harassment, but they are not going to let up until they see changes on all of their demands. And so they've asked Google also to address pay equity and a lot of structural issues. They want, for example, an employee representative on Alphabet's board of directors.
The protests were sparked by a New York Times report that Google in 2014 gave a $90 million exit package to Andy Rubin, known as the father of Android, after he was accused of sexual harassment.
You're up to date. For more, download the Reuters TV app on your mobile or streaming device.
Was accused of sexual harassment.